What if a single storm could take everything you've ever known, your home, your livelihood, your dreams, and leave you with nothing but the will to survive? On a fateful day in 1978, that's exactly what happened to a young woman in Sri Lanka. But instead of letting the winds of disaster break her, she harnessed their power to build an empire that would make her a millionaire. Welcome to Riches Reborn, where we uncover the most incredible stories of people who rise from ruin to greatness. Today we're diving into the extraordinary journey of Priya Ranasinghe, a farmer's daughter from Sri Lanka who survived the deadliest cyclone in her country's history and turned her tragedy into a global coconut oil empire. From the wreckage of a storm to the heights of fortune, this is a story of resilience, ingenuity, and an unbreakable spirit. Let's step into the eye of Priya's storm, the day the sky turned to chaos. It was November 23rd, 1978, in the coastal city of Galle, Sri Lanka. Priya Ranasinghe, a 22-year-old farmer's daughter, was tending to her family's coconut plantation, a modest patch of land that had sustained them for generations. The coconut trees stood tall, their fronds swaying gently in the ocean breeze, a symbol of life and stability in a simple world. But that morning, the air felt different. The sky darkened, the wind began to howl, and a sense of dread settled over the village. A cyclone, one of the most destructive in Sri Lanka's history, was racing toward the southern coast with winds reaching 120 miles per hour. It tore through Galle like a beast unleashed, uprooting trees, demolishing homes, and flooding entire communities. In a matter of hours, hundreds of lives were lost, and the coconut plantations that were the backbone of the region were reduced to a graveyard of broken stumps. Priya's voice still trembles when she recalls that day. The wind was like a monster, screaming as it tore everything apart. I watched our house collapse, and the coconut trees, our lifeline, were gone in an instant. She and her family barely escaped the floodwaters, clinging to each other as the storm raged around them. When the winds finally died down, Priya emerged to a scene of utter devastation. Her family's plantation was destroyed, their home reduced to rubble, and their future washed away. At just 22 years old, Priya stood amidst the wreckage, her heart heavy with loss. The cyclone had taken everything, her security, her dreams, her hope, but it couldn't take her determination. A seed of hope amid the ruins. In the days that followed, Galle was a shadow of its former self. Survivors wandered through the debris, their faces etched with grief, searching for anything to salvage. Priya's family was among them, scavenging for food and shelter, their spirits broken by the weight of their loss. But one morning, as Priya sifted through the remains of their plantation, she stumbled upon a small pile of coconuts that had somehow survived the storm. They were battered, their husks cracked, but they were a lifeline, a tiny seed of hope in a sea of despair. In that moment, an idea sparked in Priya's mind. She remembered how her mother used to make coconut oil in small batches for their household, a skill passed down through generations. If she could produce enough oil to sell at the local market, maybe she could start over. With nothing but a handful of coconuts and a makeshift press, Priya got to work. She cracked open the shells, grated the flesh, and pressed the oil by hand, her fingers blistering under the strain. The sun beat down, her back ached, and doubt gnawed at her. But Priya refused to give up. After hours of labor, she filled a small jar with her first batch of coconut oil and carried it to the market in Galle, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. She set up a tiny stall, her jar of oil gleaming in the sunlight, and waited. Within hours, the jar was sold. A customer raved about its purity, its rich aroma a reminder of better days. That first sale wasn't just money, it was a lifeline. Priya knew she had found her path. The storm had taken everything, but it had also given her a purpose. From a jar to a global empire. That first sale ignited a fire in Priya. She began collecting every coconut she could find, scouring the coastline for fallen nuts, and bartering with neighbors for their scraps. Day after day, she worked tirelessly, producing more oil and selling it at markets across Gali. Word spread like wildfire. Priya's coconut oil was the best in town, made with a care and a story of survival that touched everyone who heard it. By 1985, 7 years after the cyclone, Priya had saved enough to take a leap of faith. She founded her own company, Pure Coco Lanka. It was a bold move for a young woman in a male-dominated industry, but Priya was no stranger to defying the odds. Pure Coco Lanka started as a small operation, with Priya and a handful of workers producing oil in a rented shed. But Priya had bigger dreams. In the late 1980s, she learned about the growing demand for organic and natural products in Europe and Asia. She saw an opportunity to take her coconut oil global, but she knew she had to stand out. Priya invested everything she had into making her production process sustainable, using traditional methods to ensure her oil was pure and chemical-free. Her gamble paid off in 1992 when Pure Coco Lanka received its first organic certification, opening the door to international markets. Soon, Priya's coconut oil was shipping to countries like Germany, Japan, and Australia, where it was snapped up by health-conscious consumers and cosmetic companies alike. By the early 2000s, Pure Coco Lanka had become a household name in Sri Lanka and a rising star in the global coconut oil industry. Priya expanded her product line to include coconut cream and coconut flour, all under the Pure Coco Lanka brand, which became synonymous with quality and authenticity. Today, her company exports to over 20 countries, generating millions of dollars in annual revenue. Priya herself is a multi-millionaire, living in a stunning home in Gali, with a view of the ocean that once tried to destroy her. But her success isn't just about wealth. Priya has created jobs for hundreds of women in her community, giving them the chance to support their families and build their own dreams. In Gali, she's known as the Coconut Oil Queen, a title that reflects her legacy of resilience and empowerment. A legacy that outshines the storm. Priya Ranasinghe's journey from cyclone survivor to coconut oil magnate is a testament to the power of the human spirit. She didn't just rebuild her life, she built an empire that has transformed her community and put Sri Lanka on the map as a leader in the global coconut oil industry. At 68 years old, Priya still oversees Pure Coco Lanka with the same passion she had when she sold her first jar of oil. She's a living example of what it means to rise from ruin, showing the world that even the most devastating storms can lead to a harvest of riches. But Priya's story is about more than her own success. It's about the legacy she's created. Through Pure Coco Lanka, she's empowered a generation of women in Gali, giving them jobs, training, and a sense of purpose. She's also committed to sustainability, ensuring that her company's practices protect the environment for future generations. Priya often says, "The cyclone took everything from me, but it gave me a purpose. I turned my pain into something beautiful, and I want others to know they can do the same." Her words are a beacon of hope for anyone facing their own storms, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there's a spark waiting to ignite a brighter future. Priya Ranasinghe's journey from the wreckage of a cyclone to the heights of a coconut oil empire proves that the impossible is possible. She didn't let disaster define her. Instead, she used it to fuel her rise, becoming a millionaire and a symbol of hope for her community. Here at Riches Reborn, We're all about inspiring you with stories of incredible comebacks. So if Priya's tale moved you, don't forget to subscribe. Just hit that red button below and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. I've also included some resources in the description to help you chase your own dreams. Check them out, and let's keep the inspiration going. Share this video with someone who needs a spark of hope today, and let's keep the journey of rebirth alive. See you in the next story.